Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of World of Tanks. And here we are in my Chimney, the Chimera, the Chimera, the Chimera, the Chimera, the something. It's a British Tier 8 reward tank. Reward tank for the second campaign. It's actually pretty good. Carries around a pretty big stick. It's going to thump you for 440 on a Tier 8 medium tank. The turret is relatively thick, but it's actually not that good. And the gun is a little wonky. We're going to miss that shot right there. But close in is reliable enough to do some pretty good work. We have quite a few of the red team going into the town right there. And I'm going to come up over here onto the west side of the map. And we're going to start looking for shots. See if we can get a little shot on this guy. And who knows? Don't know where it went. Far, short, didn't bounce as far as we can tell. This map I'm still really trying to figure out. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. This is an all tier 8 battle. On the one hand, I feel like being in the middle in the city is maybe the critical terrain, but I really like working this side on the standard battles on the west, where we've got this little plateau here that we can work against guys like this T-44 moving in. You can go hold down here and work against these dudes. And you can kind of move around from place to place. I'm going to miss, unfortunately. That's the gun on the Chimera. It is, like I said, a little bit wonky. So usually there's some people up here to fight. I've got a couple friends with me. And we're going to try to sneak some shots into these guys. He's not looking at me, so I will push out. I don't know if you noticed that, but you could tell he was actually looking past me. And once he came a little further out, all I had to do was come a little bit further myself, and I could get down into his hole. This tank does have some pretty good depression, but the turret, while it's relatively thick, is very flat. So you are going to get pinned in the face, especially by gold rounds, by nearly anything, really, especially at this tier. LT-432 goes to the middle. Back up to see if I can help him out, him being the 6x6. The bushes are going to get in my way a little bit, and old guy reflexes aren't quite working the way I want them right there, and I miss. That's going to get me lit, so I need to cover up. I expected to be lit based on where I was, so as soon as I fired, I got moving because I knew someone like the T-44, maybe the Chrysler K, and the other guys that went past that little opening there would be interested in coming out and popping me if I was to stick around. So that's that SA thing, understanding where you are, where they are, and what the effect of things like shooting or moving is going to be. I know there's at least an STA-1 over here. I'd really love to kill him. I hit him. Fantastic, but I did not pin him. And we can see that the STA-1 is back there. The STA-1 is a dangerous opponent, especially hold down. I don't want to really charge in there, although I'm going to risk it here to get rid of this guy. There we go. I don't really want to charge in there with him already looking at me and pinning me 2 or 3 times on the way in. I get a bit lucky that for whatever reason he's fallen back, and I assume it's because he knows he's losing or starts to think he's losing. I do have these 3 guys. And notice how those 3 all sat way back there while I was forward. But that's a pretty classic way to handle this little area over on the west side. Again, back to the beginning of my discussion. I'll just go ahead and keep going with the replay here. I'm not certain if I'm better served going into the town or not. I'm curious what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments how you guys go about it. In a case like this, sort of another choose-your-own-adventure idea here, would you have gone to the... A little bit dangerous backing up right there. Would you have gone to the city in this case, or would you have actually gone up to this side? It's working out for us, but the thing is, we've killed the Super, we got the T-44, we beat up the 4202, the STA-1 is gone, so they had about an even amount of force over here. So that accounts for, what, 2 or 3 of the dead guys, to include the 432 who YOLO'd in for an unknown reason right there. I say that because, again, the city's doing well enough that they're holding on. We did peel off a good force, but they also peeled off a good force over on this side, up on the plateau side. I find that the east side is harder to push through. Maybe it's a little bit better for light tanks and sneaky tanks, but it doesn't take very much of them kind of sitting down there in those bushes on the east side before you kind of get stuffed. And then you take a lot of shots coming in on you from the town. It seems like this up here is more protected from town shots. It's higher, for one thing. Some more undulating terrain right there to keep them from getting at you. So I just find it to be a bit better. There's a little wiggle just as he fires. We're going to come in here and see if we can't get rid of him, and we bounce off his upper plate. Not really a surprise. pretty angled upper plate, decently strong against my AP. So I'm going to switch over to APCR and see if I can get some more damage in here before we get kilt off. Just put one right into his turret with the extra pin from the APCR. I eat that shot from the Udez, who's staring at me. He's up in the bush there. I think he's actually right next to the Skoda T27 now. I sort of expected him, this is interesting, I sort of expected him to be further left in the nook, but I think he's actually right next to him because I might get hit again here. No, not quite. We'll sneak that one into the T27, and then he dies. And I probably should have just pushed in right here to get my hit points. I waited a little bit, and that's going to cost me getting any more as we come around here. There we go. So I get a shot, but it doesn't pin. And I wish I had just kept on trucking. But that goes back to what I was talking about the STA-1. The reload on this 440 Alpha gun is actually pretty darn high. And going in there and trying to take on the fast-firing STA-1 is not a great idea. I have no idea where that shot went. I'd have to go back and look. I'm assuming it just missed and went across the way there, and I don't get a shot. So that's what I was talking about earlier, where I wish I had actually gone in there. Based on what was left in the game, even if he got a couple hits on me, I would have at least got that one more damaging shot and potentially put myself over 3,000. Over 3,000! We end up with 2,600, 2010. There actually might be a little more damage in there, as I recall. We'll have to look at the cards. It's an ace mastery for me, the second or third one for the Chimney in an all-tier 8 battle on Ghost Town. Did I get it right? Yes, I got it right. Spawning into the north. So I'm kind of curious what you guys think of that. Would you guys have gone down into the town? I'm telling you what, I'm about 50-50 on that. Based on this matchup, we can have all kinds of discussions about heavy tank and whether you're top tier and other things like that. But in this particular situation, where it's all tier 8s, I don't know. One of the reasons I don't go into the town with a situation like this is this thing's armor's not great. It's good, but not great. And some of those places fighting down there requires a good turret. And I just felt like this did not have the turret to go take on heavies who might be down there on some of those rubble piles, where I'll be bouncing their turret and they won't have a whole lot of trouble pinning mine. So that's why I ended up going over to the high plateau. But I actually like fighting there. It's easier, and it's one of those cases that I go against a lot, where I say, well, people go there because it's easier. Well, there you go. There's a place on a map that Guido will go because it's kind of easier to fight. It is difficult down in the town. I felt like the tank wasn't the right tank necessarily, but I might have been able to do some good work down there. The good news is my team won everywhere. So it wasn't a matter of we lost in town because I wasn't there. It's just they won town. We won up in the plateau, and even the guys over on the other side won. So this was a win-win all the way around. But I think that actually helps us kind of look at it and go, all right, what do you guys think would have been the best positioning for this tank? Because I think it would have been a win no matter what we did. So would I have been more effective down the town or up on the peninsula where I was? That's all I've got for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see ya.